to everybody that's logging in right now. Thanks for joining us for the credit union's annual membership meeting. We're going to wait probably 1.5 to 2 minutes longer before we get started to let everybody else join in online. If you have any questions in the meantime, you can use the chat button that's at the bottom of your screen, and we'll see if we can help you out.
Oh. Wow.
Okay, everybody, thanks for joining us. We're excited to present our first annual virtual membership meeting. Excuse me, it's the 70th annual membership meeting. And we're excited to be able to offer you a presentation that's going to include reports from our board of directors, supervisory committee members, a presentation from the nominating committee for the annual elections. During the presentation today, we do encourage you all to be involved. We're going to be presenting options for you to be able to do the voting process to show your favor or oppose. And the poll will be presented on your screen when you'll be able to do your votes on there. For those of you that are new to Zoom, we'll just do a really quick tour. Down at the bottom, it's a really simple platform. Down at the bottom of your screen, you should see a chat button. And that's something that you're going to be using to be able to offer motions for approvals. And then you can also ask questions. And we'll be having staff joining in to help out with answering any questions that you have. During today's presentation, everybody is going to be muted except for the panelists. And again, if you have any questions, just use that chat feature and we'll field the question during or and then after the presentation if it's for everybody to see. And I'm going to now hand the meeting over to Rick Flanagan, our chairperson.
Thank you, Karen. I want to call the meeting to order at 1:05. I'd like to welcome everyone to our 2019 annual meeting of the Metro Community Credit Union. I'm Rick Flanagan, chairman of the board of directors. First, let me say welcome to all of you in attendance. We appreciate you taking the time to participate with us here today. I've been told before the meeting that we are well over the required 15 members. Karen, can you give us the final count of members in attendance?
We have 41 participants, members and attendees.
Okay, that's very good. That's great. At this point, I would like to appoint Javelin Sisson. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct, though, to act as recording secretary. Thank you, Jovelyn. Adoption of agenda. You should see a copy of this year's official agenda on your screen. Using the chat button, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
We have received a motion from Joe Weiner to approve the agenda.
Thanks, Jovelyn. Do I have a second?
We have received a second from Stacy.
Please use the polling feature displayed on your screen to vote in favor or opposed to approve the agenda.
Counselor coming in. We gotta wait. We have 10 more people. All right. I suppose everybody is in favor.
Have you got the results? Because I don't see it on my screen.
Results. Got it. There we go.
Okay, got it. Thank you very much. Agendas have been adopted. I will now introduce John Barton, the Secretary of the Board, to give his report. John, you're on.
Hello, everybody. You should see a copy of the minutes from the 2018 annual meeting on your screen. Are there any corrections to the minutes?
If you have any corrections, you're welcome to use that chat button.
And by the way, this is the 2019 annual meeting that you're looking at.
The meeting was held in 2019 on May 4th last year, but it was for the 2018 year for business.
Correct.
And I don't think we have any questions. You want to move for a motion?
Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the 2019 annual minutes as printed.
We have received a motion from Deb Sampson to approve the minutes.
We ask for a second motion to approve the minutes.
We have received a second from Andrea Suhaka.
We'll use the feature. Vote for all in favor.
The minutes
Are being approved.
are in the process of approval. Please vote.
I'm going to end polling and I will share the results. Everybody has voted in favor, John?
The minutes are approved. I'm going to turn this meeting back over to Rick.
Thanks, John. Report of the Board of Directors. I will now present the highlights of report of the Board of Directors. All the Board Directors are listed in the annual report today, and I would like to introduce each one to you. Joe Weiner as Vice Chairman, Alan Harriman as Treasurer, John Barton as Secretary, and serving as Directors Leonard West, Sue Jane Chen, Deborah Sampson, and Aaron Miskey. Okay, I'd like to briefly summarize the report. I won't read it to you, but I'd like to comment about our member ownership reward program, MOR program. We returned over $31,000 in 2019. And so that's a real payback to those that had a lot of the services. I'd also like to point out that our year-ending rates were higher on investments, our loan rates were lower, and lower fees were all lower than competitors. Also during 2018, planning session, the mobile app in 2019 received several upgrades, which made the mobile deposit capture more automatic, reducing the amount of labor to process, and also improving the quick deposits to the customers. Lending was enhanced also for online closings, and we also now accept electronic signatures, significant improvements in all our systems. Historically, the strength of the credit union has always been the staff. Unfortunately, this year we lost over 40 years experience, but because of planning and training, other people stepped up. We were able to actually advance 2 staff members to mid-level management roles. That was very important in improving our performance. We want to be a credit union that's always improving services, and we're trying to do that all the time. And I believe that that's one of our major commitments to not only our staff, but also all the members of the credit union. I would also now like to turn the meeting over to Alan Harmon, who will now present the report of the treasurer.
Oh, thank you, Rick. I think that the treasurer's report's on the screen here. And there's just a couple of items that I'd like to mention from the treasurer's report. Under the capital ratios section, our total assets increased from 73 million to 79 million during the year. And our net worth increased by 532,000, yielding a net worth of 12.8%. A well-capitalized credit union is 7.0%, so Metrum is far above all the requirements for safety and soundness. And Metrum Credit Union continues to outperform our peers due to the strong operational expense control and strong member usage of our products and services. Are there any questions regarding the treasurer's report?
Use your chat feature if you have any questions.
Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the 2019 treasurer's report.
We have received a motion from Amber Bridenstine to approve the treasurer's report.
Do I have a second?
We have received a second from Deb Sampson.
Okay, please use the polling feature displayed on your screen to vote in favor or opposed to approving the treasurer's report.
We have some votes coming in still. 5 more seconds.
Good.
Oh, yes, seeing the report on the screen, the treasurer's report is approved, and I'll now turn the meeting over to Deborah Peters to present the report of the Supervisory Committee.
Hi, this is Debbie Peters. On the screen, you'll see our report, and I will introduce you to the committee members. And Nancy Sue is our vice chair. Norma Kovacs is our secretary. Larry McLaughlin and Tom McAndrews are on the board or on the committee. And myself as the chairperson, Deborah Peters. And our committee's responsibility is to verify that the credit union is operating in accordance with governing laws and regulations as set forth by the Colorado Division of Financial Services and National Credit Union Administration, along with the board-approved policies and procedures. The committee conducts several internal audits and outsources audits to professional organizations, and the committee conducts monthly audits and holds formal quarterly meetings. The audits include, yet are not limited to, new and closed account reviews, security, cash, and check handling, as well as compliance with various policies, procedures, and regulations. The Supervisory Committee reports all the findings to the Metrum Community Credit Union Board of Directors. And based on the results of all of these audits and reviews, the committee is satisfied that adequate internal controls exist to protect owners accounts and that the financial statements accurately reflect the financial condition of the credit union. The committee is further satisfied with the consistent attention paid to the potential threats of online banking and keeping the systems updated constantly to ward off any potential issues. None of this could be done without the continued efforts and cooperation of the credit union staff, management, and volunteers who provide us with all the support to complete our oversight duties. And we would like to express our appreciation to everyone. And that concludes my report, and now I'll hand the meeting back over to Rick.
Thank you very much. Number 9, old business is next on the agenda, which there is none. So now on to new business. We have 2 items to review under new business, and that is the nominations for the open volunteer positions and staff milestones recognized in 2019. I am the nominating committee chair and will present the committee's report. This year, oh geez. Our nominating committee members were Deborah Sampson, Thomas McAndrews, and myself. The nominating committee solicited existing and potential volunteers over the past couple of months. There were 3 openings on the board of directors and up to 2 openings on the supervisory committee. The committee is recommending the following individuals for the openings to board of directors: John Barton, Aaron Minsky, and Andrea Suhaka. Nancy Sue and Karen Richland are being nominated for the supervisory committee. Using the chat button, are there any other nominations from the floor?
Rick, there are no other nominations presented.
Thanks, Jocelyn. Being none, using the chat button, is there a motion to approve the recommendations of the committee?
We have received a motion from Stacy Funderburg to approve the recommendations from the committee.
Do I have a second?
We have received a second from Lynn Kelly.
Thank you. Please, using the polling features displayed on your screen, to vote in favor or opposed to approve the recommendations from the committee. Motion passed. This concludes the nominating committee report, and I will hand the meeting over to Steve Kelly to present the staff milestones.
Thank you, Rick. One of the cornerstones and strengths of our credit union has always been longevity of our staff. And we put a program in place last year to recognize at our annual meeting when one of our staff members goes through a milestone. So 3 years, 5 years, 10, so forth. This year, or in 2019, we had 4 individuals that had a milestone. Shalora Sullivan with 3 years, Rochelle Herrera with 5, Jovelyn Sison with 5, and myself with 30 years. Rick, that would conclude the recognition of the anniversary milestones.
Thank you, Steve. Resolutions. This year we have 2 resolutions to present. I would like to present the resolution for Patrick Everett. Oh, there it is. Resolution, whereas the members of the Metrum Community Credit Union have been enhanced by knowledgeable, dynamic, and effective leaders, and whereas Mr. Patrick Everett served as a volunteer at Metrum Community Credit Union from 1991 to May 2020. During this period with Metrum Community Credit Union, he served as a member of the credit committee, as a director of the chair, and as the chairperson of the board of directors, and in these ways contributed to the betterment of thousands of credit union members. And whereas Mr. Everett's unwavering adherence to basic credit union philosophy and his identity with the principles on which credit unions are grounded contributed stability in the growth to the credit union. And whereas it is our desire to recognize not only the contribution in time and talent of Mr. Everett, but also his devotion to credit union ideals. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors at the May 2nd, 2020 annual membership meeting held in Centennial, Colorado, do hereby formally express sincere gratitude and appreciation to Patrick Everett for the loyalty and service he has rendered to Metro Community Credit Union. Our next resolution is from Larry McLaughlin from our Supervisory Committee, and I would like Debbie Peters to present the resolution.
Okay, Larry McLaughlin, whereas the members of the Metro Community Credit Union have been enhanced by knowledgeable, dynamic, and effective leaders, and whereas Mr. Larry McLaughlin served as a volunteer at Metro Community Credit Union from June of 2014 to May of 2020. During his period with Metro Credit Union, he has served as a member of the Supervisory Committee and in these ways contributed to the betterment of thousands of credit union members. And whereas Mr. McLaughlin's unwavering adherence to basic credit union philosophy and his identity with the principles on which credit unions are grounded contributed stability and growth to the credit union, and whereas it is our desire to recognize not only the contribution in time and the talent of Mr. McLaughlin, but also his devotion to credit union ideals. And now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors at the May 2nd, 2020 annual membership meeting held in Centennial, Colorado, do hereby formally express sincere gratitude and appreciation to Larry McLaughlin for the loyalty and service he has rendered to Metro Community Credit Union.
Thank you, Deb. Before we adjourn the meeting, I'd like to hand the meeting back over to Steve Kelly, the credit union's CEO and president. Thanks.
Thanks, Rick. Karen, were you going to have me be live today?
That is up to you, and I believe you need to share your video.
I need to share my video.
Thank you for everybody's patience.
Let me open that back up. I think the host has to open me back up. It says that I cannot start it on my own. The host stopped it.
Okay, thank you for everybody's patience. You want to see Steve's face while he does his talk with us. Can you do your video now, Steve?
I will do that.
You won't be on the main screen. For those of you that might have a video where you can see a bunch of black boxes, we hope that you can see Steve as well.
And be patient with me for one moment while I get back to my screen.
Can we have an attendee tell us if you can see, by chat, tell us if you can see Steve?
I can see Steve.
Well, I need an attendee, not a panelist.
Okay, I see.
I saw him for a minute. Where'd he go? Okay, let's say unpin. Can you see him now? Steve, you disappeared. Hold on. How about now, people? Can you see him? All right. Hi, Steve.
All right. Well, welcome and thank you for attending the first ever electronic annual meeting. A special thanks goes out to Karen for organizing and learning the tools to be able to hold this meeting in the last few days. As you heard in the preceding reports, the credit union is doing very well financially and providing value to our membership. This is accomplished because of all of our volunteers and staff. Their commitment to the credit union and serving the members is always at the forefront of everything we do. I personally am very appreciative and thankful to be a part of such a great organization, as the people are thoughtful, caring, and carry out the vision of the credit union every day. Our vision is simple. We're a member-owned cooperative. That's who we are. We provide financial services for our members. Member education and credit union philosophy are the foundation of our organization. Again, a big thank you to all of our volunteers and staff. I would be remiss today if I didn't say a few words honoring Mrs. Jennifer Boswell and Mr. Pat Everett. We'll start with Jennifer. In February 2019, Jennifer left the credit union due to unforeseen circumstances. She had just celebrated her 25th year of service to the credit union the December before. We did hold a celebration, and her accomplishments were many last spring. And needless to say, she started the credit union when she was a teenager, and the credit union was a teenager itself, as we only had $8 million in total assets and not very many services. She was dedicated, persistent, and was a large part of the credit union's ability to grow in assets and services for our members. Jennifer's energy was contagious, and her willingness to go above and beyond to help the staff and our members was a trademark that she'll leave on the credit union. We will have her running through our core for many years to come. The credit union thanks you, as does the staff, for all your dedicated years of service. Mr. Pat Everett. As the resolution mentioned, Pat had served on 2 different committees and held various positions on the board of directors, including the chair position for several years. That's when I really got to know him. Let's get to the important characteristics of Pat. He loves his Denver Broncos. Did I mention he loves his Denver Broncos? He called me once, just a few minutes before a board meeting, and said he had forgot that he wasn't going to be in attendance because of the NFL draft. His second love, maybe it's his first, but definitely top priorities, is his love of his family, his children, his grandchildren, and most of all, his wife, Helen. If you ever called his home phone and got his answering machine, you know he loved Helen, as the message told the world this information. It went something like this: "You've reached the Everetts, and if this is Helen, I love you." Pat was the kind of person that kept you on your feet, which made for a great board member. On a regular basis, he challenged reports, budgets, and credit union plans. The management team definitely had to pay attention to the details and be prepared to support our thoughts. And finally, Pat holds records that may never be surpassed at our credit union. As you had heard already, he served 29 years of unwavering support for the credit union. And then also, Pat believed in learning. The credit union offers 40 different volunteer training programs, and Pat by far is the only one ever to come close to completing them. He completed all 40 of them. It is with joy and appreciation as Pat leaves us as the longest tenured and most educated volunteer in the credit union's history. Thank you, Pat. That would conclude my speech for the day, and back to Rick, I believe.
Thanks, Steve. This concludes the agenda. Using the chat button, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Rick, I think we need to move to accept resolutions first. The board members are not voted in yet.
Panelists, if you can look at your chat panel quickly. And in the meantime, I will share with the membership what you see on your screen. It's a certificate of excellence that we receive actually on an annual basis from CUNA. And what you see is it's an annual direct financial benefits that we offer to our members. This is through September of 2019. and it shares that we are offering benefits equivalent of approximately $313 per member household. And for those loyal high-use member households, it results to $590 in direct financial benefits. It's just another example of how proud we are for being part of being a credit union and a financial cooperative, and we'd like to be able to share this with you all. If you all can hold on for one moment, please. Rick or Steve, can you get on and go ahead, and we can go ahead, I believe, and adjourn? Or we have,
Yeah,
we'll back
Yeah.
up.
so I need a motion to adjourn the meetings. Have we got that from one person yet? See, I got somebody. Have you received it, Karen?
Yeah, we have received the motion from Andrea to adjourn this meeting.
Okay, I need a second.
We have received a second from Shalora Sullivan.
Using the polling feature, please display it on your screen. Please vote in favor of adjourning the annual membership meeting.
Steve, I believe you're our host now. If you can present the polling feature at the bottom.
The meeting is adjourned at time of 1:32. Now that the official meeting has been adjourned, I would like to open up the presentation for any questions. Please feel free to use the chat button to present a question, and we'll either respond to you directly or take a moment to read it out loud. Karen, while we wait for questions, would you like to take a moment for any announcements? Maybe that you've already done that. I don't know. You have any other announcements to make?
Yeah, we went to that page. We'll see if there's any additional questions. While we wait for one more minute, we do want to thank everybody for joining us at our first virtual annual membership meeting. While we miss out on our traditional event with visiting and seeing everybody in person, we're very thankful that we have this opportunity to still be able to present the benefits and the success of the credit union. And we're even able to reach out to members that typically don't make it near our annual meeting because they may reside out of state or on the other side of town. So thank you very much. We appreciate that. Mike, I see a question actually came in. Can you help us out with answering this?
Sure, we do have a question from Steve Sexton. How many members have requested any kind of loan relief due to COVID-19? And I can answer that we've actually had 4 members to this point ask for one of our relief loans, and then the other options that we've made available to our members are skip-a payments on different loans. But actual for relief, specific relief loans, we've had 4 members to date.
Do we have any other questions?
Karen, I just have a point of clarification based on one of our members who were on the meeting. Did we fail to accept the nominating committee's holding out the board and the supervisory committee to the membership, and did we not vote on that?
The motion was to approve the recommendation from the committee.
And that recommendation was Deborah Sampson, let's
It
see,
was-
no.
was-
John Barton, Aaron Mishke, Andrea Suhaka for the Board of Directors, and Nancy Sue and Karen Richland for the Supervisory Committee.
That's correct.
And we asked for a vote from the membership to accept the committee's recommendations, and we did have a first and a second on that.
Yes, that's what we recommended. Yes, approve the recommendation from the committee is what we asked.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Does that clear everything up on that?
I believe so.
I believe that we don't have any additional, actually, we do have one more question from Boaz. Mike, he was asking about other options like skip a payment.
And to date, we've had 69 loans that have requested a skip a payment for their at least the first or second month during this COVID-19 period.
Very nice. And if you happen to be joining us on this call and have any questions or need any assistance, please feel free to give our loan department or our member service representatives a call. We've got lots of resources available to you, or even just some guidance too. So we're always happy to help you out. And in that note, we have ended or reached the end of our meeting, and we again appreciate all of you joining in. We miss you all, and it is hard not being able to see each other, but we'll get through this, and hopefully later this fall, we'll be having an open house here at the credit union where we'll be able to host some paper shredding and some good camaraderie. So take care, everybody, and stay well.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you all.
Thanks.